for something. So I'm just writing it for enrolled participant. Now those who are not enrolled, you need to enroll. Okay, so I'm just gonna put for enrolled a separate column. So for enrolled participant, those who have enrolled for the 2 to 3 month of full batch. I'm not talking about the free class or demo class. Okay, the full complete 3 month of course. So you guys will receive a Google form on your WhatsApp group that you are part of. Once you fill it up, then my backend team will start rolling out something called welcome kit. And this welcome kit has the learn portal access, which is where all the recording of your live class will be. And it's a lifetime access. And you will receive a remote lab access. This is where you can lab it. Okay, all your lab. And in case if you have minimum requirement of 16 GB RAM with let's say 4 to 6 core CPU, then you can also opt for home lab setup. The process is you will download all the needful files from the class 0 of Learn portal, and then you will shoot an email to our backend team stating that you have downloaded this, and this is where my Ultra Weaver or any desk or Team Weaver code is. Please join and fix it for me. Okay, something like that. And my backend team are available anytime after 10 a.m. till 8 p.m. Indian hours. So you can expect someone joining you, or they will at least text you on WhatsApp. Again, Monday to Saturday, not on Sunday. So let me also mention that. This is for home lab setup. And finally, there was something related to support DL, that if you're stuck somewhere, if you're need assistance, then there was a support DL mentioned. So this is what the welcome kit consists of. This was rolled out for enrolled people. Now those who are not enrolled, then just sit and enjoy this class, and later after class you can talk to the counselor, or you can ping the person who have given you the Zoom meeting, and then they will give you the admission process. And once you have been successfully enrolled, then you will receive all the next steps of the Google form and all rest of the details. Okay, so that is how this works. So that was something about what we shared to you. If you have not received, then might be you might not have filled up the Google form from the WhatsApp group that you are, or might be you just recently joined and might be you have not received it. It could be either reason. Do not worry. After the class, you can just ping in the WhatsApp group, and one of my backend team will share this to you, and that is where then we start rolling out all these things to you. Okay. Now, regards to the Learn portal, it's located at this website. So when you click, when you go here, learn.networkjourney.com, this is how it loads up. There is a login button. You will enter your email ID, password that my backend team would have shared to the enrolled people. And then you can log in. Once you log in, uh, let me use a test account to show you. So let's say I just logged in from one of the student email ID. Now this is my courses. Under my courses, let's say my team has assigned you something. Let's say this is one of the previous batch. You will click over that, and this is how the recording of every classes will be placed. And this is a lifetime access, so that even after the batch is over, you have the access to the recording. Okay, so this was one of a previous batch, and if you see there, You will have a section called demo class. Demo is basically that first two classes which I normally conduct as a free class, and all the logged session after that would be kept in the premium content. So around 20 to 30 hours of content will be kept here. The batch is still going on. We just have completed NetMiko and the Python theory, 14 classes, and another 14-20 classes are pending for this batch. This is August batch, which I started. And then you will receive some interview questions, those who are preparing for interview. So this is question with answers. And there is some Python exercises under next section. So when you start, let's say once, let's say we finish off with our Python theory and you want to start. So you can start this way. Which Python library is commonly used for network automation? Let's say submit. Okay, sorry, continue. So there's option next question here. Which protocol is commonly used for network device config and management? So let's say SSH. Next question. So once you finish off, there are total 25 question in this set. Then you can click on submit. Okay, so this way there are total two quiz as of now. We keep adding. So I will ask my backend to add for REST API based and Ansible based and Devnet based as well. So you will expect this portal keep on increasing. And here is where we also provide links to all our premium content. So let's say when I told you that you guys have to download files from class 0. So that class 0 is nothing but this one. Okay. So when you click over here, let's say for home lab setup, you will click on this link. And this is the file. Basically, it will ask you for certain approval, which I did not get because I am logged in with our root account. But in your case, as a participant, you will get a check box saying that unauthorized, but click on request button, and then one of our administrator will approve, and upon that you should receive this. Okay, so once we approve it, then you get this file. So this over file is complete complete home lab file with all the images and the lab topology. So this is what you need to download. And we also giving you a VM workstation, and you can see this EVNG Windows client. And someone who is looking for all other PDF, DevNet notes, and all rest of the things, then they can go with the final link. So there's DevNet node. There are Postman collection, which will be used for REST API practical. This is again the same OVA file. So if you're downloading the full enrolled one, then you don't have to download the first one at least. You have it already in this, and all the PDF. So these are something which I will start. Say, for example, uh, if I click on this network automation HCL, okay, this consists of like 255 pages. Now, what are those pages here? So just an overview. So this is all Python basics, different ways to automate. Then we start with the theory. Okay, so good number of theory topics put up here. So this also serve as your reading material. In the live class, whatever we discuss, we would be taking up from this. So it will act as a reading material once you are out of the session. Might be you need something which you can refer, right? So that is this one. And this also has the initial few scripts. See, from here, once the Python theory is over, yeah, somewhere, let's say, yeah, from here. So from here we start with our practical, right? So first few things are being put up already. So the management configuration, then this first script, then the detailed about what happens over there. So this is like for you to read as well, though we cover it in the live class. So these are few materials that you will receive in this Google Drive. Okay. And regards to the next thing, which was related to remote lab and home lab setup. So let me show you how do we access this. Let me check one of your welcome kit. So we have made it very simple process to access the lab. If you open up your welcome kit, which shared to the enrolled people, there is this sort of URL. This URL is a web-based. You can access it from anywhere, office or personal laptop or whatsoever. uh, because this is on a client server basis, server being our side. So we have our own data center, and all the load of this lab, like whenever you power on some router switches or anything, Palo Alto, etc., the load is on our side. You are just accessing the front end of it. So you kind of enter to this. Let's say I log in with one of the participant, and this is a 6 month access. Earlier we used to give 2 to 3 months, but now we started giving 6 months. And at any point of time, if you can arrange a 16 GB minimum, then we will help you to deploy the same on your home lab as well. Okay, so this is how it looks like. The lab looks like it has Cisco router, switches, Juniper, Arista, Cisco ASA firewalls, one window machine, one Linux machine. Okay. And on request, let's say if you are more into Juniper or FortiGate, or let's say Palo Alto, then we also provision those image to you. We don't keep it to all, because not all are gonna use Palo Alto or FortiGate. So we take it on a request basis. So you can just send an email saying that you are closely working on Palo Alto, and you would be happy to have that Palo Alto instance inside your lab topology, and we will provision that in the backend to your login ID. Every participant, those are enrolled to this 3 month, has their own credential. So you don't have to share your credential with the other participant. So you have your own view as well. So whatever we add in the backend, it's accessible only to you. So it doesn't mean that you ask for Palo, that will be given to all. So the others who needs it will be requesting, and we will allow, or we will add that in the backend. So any nodes that is kept in this, irrespective of vendor, they are powered on first, and then we configure the management IP, because these are a brand new devices. So they may not be configured as of now. So how we power on first thing. So let's say I hover on this icon or this node. This is called nodes. Okay, each one of them is called as node. So this is a node for a switch. This is for router. This is for Arista. This is for Juniper. This is for ASA firewall. See, there is already Palo Alto here. There is a Linux. There is a Windows. So let's say I want to power on the node window. So I'll right click and click on start. Let's say I want to power on Palo Alto. Let's say I want to power on one of the router, right? So this is how we kind of start the node. You don't have to power on all of them at once, because you may not be working or writing a script for all of them, right? So whatever you are working on, you can just power on them by selecting each one of them. Let's say you feel you need to have one Cisco switch or something, so you can power on this, right? So this is how it works. Whatever you need, you will right click on top of it, and there is a option called start here. And these are all tested lab. So 99% you will never encounter any issue. But for any reason, 1%, if there is any issue, take the error screenshot, and you know whom to reach our backend team. And with the error screenshot, that will save their time as well as your time, in order to not go into very deep troubleshooting. We can see the error and we can do the needful without much time constraint. Okay, so we'll fix it. So once you power on, now what you do is you double click on them. See, like this. When you double click, the nodes are now booting up. This is a booting up process now. It takes time. Palo will take some time, but let's say 7200. It should be done by now. See, you have it ready now. So you can say the no to the initial dialog. Okay, this is a brand new device. You will not have anything configured for now. So it's a blank, okay, complete blank. So for automation, what do we need? We need them to have the management IP and certain things on these devices. Palo Alto 99% will come by auto config itself. You hardly have to do anything, because when you power on Palo Alto or any next gen devices, they already have DHCP enabled, or they will have that HTTP and SSH process enabled. So easily you can take the access. But for this SSH based Catalyst devices, or like ASA devices, they don't come with a DHCP configured, or they don't have might be SSH configured, or line VTY configured. So we have to configure them, right? So that is what is step number one. Once you power on the nodes, you might have to do the management config, which we don't do it. We let the user do it, because then they would not realize how this end-to-end automation is done. So once you do it, you can save it. You don't have to do for every time. You don't have to do it. Once you do it, I'll tell you the way you can save the config, so that next time when you power on boot up, the config will be present, and you only need IP address and a username on the device to get started with your scripting, right? So you can just write once and finish it off. So let me just prepare one management config for a catalyst box. So let's say it's a catalyst, a router, or a switch. This will work for both. So let me first have a, let's say, host name. Let's create a username for this. Yeah. Let me go to the interface management. These are the DHCP server, which you see as a cloud icon. So you can just mention DHCP. You don't have to assign any IP in our home lab. Sorry, in your remote or this one, you don't have to put a static. You can just configure a DHCP. So this is enough. It will pull one IP and get it to you. And after this, you can configure some IP domain name. Let's say networkjourney.com. And then you can bring up the crypto key, generate RSA modulus 1024, line VTY 024, login local, transport input SSH. This is sufficient. And then just write mem. This is important command to save this config on the NVRAM of the device. We don't need anything else. Helper address, DHCP pool, nothing is required. This is a very minimal thing we need in the lab. That's all. Okay, guys, just give me 1 minute. I'll be back. Yeah, sorry, I'm back. Okay, so let me continue. So this is the config which you need on the router or the switch type catalyst. No other config needed, though there can be a lot of other best practices or other things that we can, but our lab is very simple. Okay, we just are using from automation side, right? So we are not going to see what is the best practice or what all things are needed. So these are something which we need on to get started. So now how do I bring this to this? So first let's copy this. If you, this is a web based console, so there is a difference between a web based console and a regular the putty session or your secure CRT. Because in a regular putty session or secure CRT you can right click, it will copy paste, but that don't happen in a web based browser. So for this there is a trick. You hold Control Shift Alt. So when you do that, a clipboard kind of thing will open up within a console itself, the within that the popped up console itself. Now just copy paste whatever you had prepared in that notepad. So like this, I just put it in the clipboard of that console. And bit scroll, when you scroll up, then you will see something called text input. Select that. You are back to the console with a new bar at the bottom, which is like cursing. You can see that the cursor is moving there. Now here you can type across here. Now let's say you go to conf t and paste it by right click and paste. See, this is how we can do the copy paste from whatever you prepared in the notepad. Or if you want, you can directly type your config on the box itself. Okay, so this is what I did. Now let's see if I receive some IP address or not. See, now there is an IP address. If I see show IP route, so I can see a gateway being added now. So I should have reachability to, let's say, internet. Yeah. Then let's say, do I have some neighbors? So let's say this is all my ARP. Okay. And I can also check my self SSH by making use of, let's say, SSH hyphen L for the flag for username, and password we will enter it when it is prompting us. Cisco. See, now I'm logged in. So how do I check if I'm logged in? I can make use of show user or show login. So when I do show user, I can see two users are logged in. One is via the console, which I had initially logged in and entered my all those config. And right now I did a self SSH, correct? See, that is why you see that I myself has been logged in via line VTY now. So this is a very minimal things that we needed. And you know why I'm stretching on this basic check? Because most of the time, uh, what happens, participants start working on the script and then they come back saying that script is not working, but they finally, you know, conclude saying that they had not configured something good in the device point of view. So the device reachability is must. Whatever credentials or the SSH is working or not, that is something step number one as well. So if you don't have the reachability, then your script will not work. So for you, first thing to check after you configure the management is to see the basic config. Okay, I'll share this in the common group that the enroll guys are. By the way, you don't have to you know rely on the chat, because the chat is which will help you. But for from a long point of view, you can find out all this material or this config within the Google Drive as well. So when you go to Google Drive, there is a file called management IP. So let me show you. I've given all the configs already in this, so you can just go back and also take it from here. Yeah, so you can see the config for the catalyst. You definitely have to make some changes. You cannot keep, let's say, host name. You will make your own host name. This is for ASA firewall, someone who wants to do check the security side of automation. This is for the Arista. This is for Junos. These are CLI based config. That's why I've given to you. For anything apart from CLI, like let's say Palo Alto, they don't need much of config here. They are just predefined by the vendor itself to take an IP from the DHCP cloud. We just go to the window cloud or the window node and just type that IP that we would have received there. Okay, so the window machine is having the credential called test123, T in capital. So if you want, you can also maximize this pop-up window. Okay. And in this window instance of our lab, it already has all the needful thing like Python, PyCharm, okay, the Postman tool later on for the REST API. So certain things we have kept it pre-installed. We don't want you to download, install it, but I will be showing you the process which will be recorded and be stored somewhere. But for you, you can just get started. So you can just open up PyCharm. There's also Microsoft Office here because there are certain uh, labs where we would be reading from Excel, storing back in Excel, creating a audit report. So Excel is already installed. Okay, so you can see at the bottom there are certain things getting indexed. So just wait for things to happen. This happens every time when you close this and start up. It takes some 10 to 20 seconds for the files to index and get stable. So power on the things and wait for 10-15 minutes. Every lab will take some time to spin up, right? So this is something similar. So when you open here, you will see at the bottom, no interpreter. Okay. So what you need to do is click on that. So there is already the interpreter being installed. You just have to select that. Okay. At the very bottom. I'll just might be take a screenshot and put in our group. So this you guys have to do it, though we have all in place. So there's this when you click on here, it was earlier showing as no interpreter. You will select Python 3.9. We have downloaded and we have installed it, but you have to select it when you open PyCharm. I'll go with all the tools that we need. I'm just giving a very highlight as of now, not getting into it for some time. We have to cover up Python theory and all other things before we start that. So you can see that indexing, right? And it's asking for a minute. So this is how the process work. Already a project is created. You can see that project, right? So what happens when you open up PyCharm, which is a tool for you to start writing your script? So it will take some time for indexing. You select that interpreter. What next? Project is already created, but for some reason you want to create another project, then you go to File, New Project, and you can just put down whatever you want to. Let's say network journey. Okay. And already things are selected as of now. You have interpreter selected, create a test file, and then you can click on create. It will ask you whether both the project, the old and new, you want on the same window, or you want to keep it in new window, or you want to attach it. So you can go for new window. The good thing about PyCharm is when you create two different projects, you can keep them in two different application, two different same application. In the sense, PyCharm first instance will be running a different project, and PyCharm second instance will be running a separate project. And project to project, all the library installation, whatever you do, it's to be done from scratch. So this project, project number one, whatever libraries you have will not be helpful for the next project. You have to re-download it from the marketplace. So now you can see there would be two instances. See, this is that old one in the sense the one which was we started up some time back, and this is one which we just created a new project. So whatsoever you do here, let's say when you have one of the Python PyCharm instance, you want to start writing a script, right? So you can just right click here and go to new, go to Python file, and let's say this is your script number one. And let's say you're working, you have multiple clients. You have a shared client, let's say 100 of client. Some of them have signed up for Python automation. So you can just call something like that. So this particular instance of PyCharm is for that particular client. So let's say client one, script one. You don't have to give py, it will automatically take the py extension. However, if you still give it, there is no harm. And now you can start writing your script related to client one. But what happens when you start writing things, might be for the client one, he has too many things. He have vendors like Palo Alto, F5, FortiGate, Cisco. So things will pile up. You will have multiple script to handle them. Might be they are also into Ansible automation. So again, those things will keep increasing. They have something from the REST API point of view. So my point here is you might have lot of things from client one perspective, Python, REST API, and Ansible. So you are maintaining the project over here for this particular client. Now, the second client might have a different set of instances. He might be working with HP boxes or Blue Coat proxy load balancer, might be Palo Alto, right? And you don't want to mix client one and client two. So you can have the second instance of PyCharm. And whatsoever you do here, that will be only relevant to that particular client without, hampering the other client, or for any reason, you don't have too many uh, packages downloaded in one instance itself. So you can just segment them. You can keep it separate. Now, let's say this was for client two. You are starting writing some file, so you can recreate the process. Let's say this is client two, script one, py. Okay. At the beginning, there will be no package installed. You have to install it. You go to file, settings. Okay. Let me just, since this is your first class, so what I will do is I'll show you some basic appearance that you can change it. So when you go to settings, there are things which you can change. Let's say you want to keep a light color. See. So a few things are applicable for both the instance. So you change the color, it will change for both. So this is where you change the color. Go back, file, settings. Let's say you want to play with the font. These are some places where you can do that changes. Okay, so these are all appearance and behavior. So up to you, whatever you want, you can try to do that. The one which I need is under project. Okay, under project, when I click on Python interpreter, this is a marketplace. Marketplace in the sense, marketplace for Python. So you will expect hundreds, thousands of libraries being kept here. But I don't see anything for now, correct? I just see the three. So these three are pre-installed in PyCharm, and this three will help you to download rest of the thing on the operating machine. See, a simple explanation. First, let me just delete this. Say, for example, you have a smartphone. How do you expect to download any apps? You have something called Play Store. You have a Play Store, right? Or App Store in iPhones, and you download it, right? So you first navigate to that app, and within that app, you will search for whatever you're looking for, and you can download it. Similar way, let's say when you go to a Windows operating machine, let's say this is a Windows operating machine. How do you install some application? You definitely first go to browser, download something which is in a exe format, and then you double click that and navigate, follow the on screen and etc., and you install that, right? uh, Over on MacBook, or let's say Linux box, how do you install any package? Or let's say you have a MacBook terminal similar to the Linux terminal. So how do we install the package? We have something called pip. We can make use of pip if it is a Python based, or we can go with the apt command. You might have seen like sudo apt install ssh, something like this, and the package is installed via terminal. There are certain methods apart from direct CLI in the Linux and the MacBook. We download files called DMZ, something called DMG in the MacBook, and then using the terminal we can extract it, or we can double click on that and then follow the on screen. It's something like exe format, but developers don't follow that process. The easiest process is something via the terminal. So if I go to the terminal, I can just say sudo apt netmiko. So this is how I am, with the help of apt package, I'm installing this. When you go with a different flavor of Linux, like you have Red Hat, you have CentOS, the things will change. There is called yum package. In the Red Hat, you have something called df package, something for df. Similar way, if you're making use of a Python foundation, then pip is the package installer. Okay, the pip installer is a package installer. So what happens if you are uh, trying to install a package using pip? You can go with pip install, let's say netmiko, or pip install Ansible, pip install. So this is how the command would look like when you go with the pip manager. And I'm talking from the terminal perspective. Now we have a graphical based application now, PyCharm. This is a application based, right? It's not the regular traditional CLI where I can type pip. Pip will not work in Windows. Moreover, it's a Linux terminal or MacBook terminal where it will work, right? So here I will get an error. Pip is not recognized because it's a regular traditional Windows CMD. So how do I install the package? So what these guys have done, the PyCharm guys, they have already kept that pip by default in this. So next time you just have to tell the package name, and since you already have this, you can use it up. You can use it to download rest of the package. Now, where do we check that package? You click on this plus symbol. Okay, this is like the open sourced Python marketplace. So there are thousands of libraries. They are not pre-installed on your PyCharm because there's no point all thousands of libraries in your project, because you might have 10 instances of PyCharm. It doesn't mean that every instance will have by default all this unnecessarily, right? It will increase the overhead of your application unnecessarily. So whatsoever you need, you will search in the search bar, and there is an option at the bottom, install package. It will take 1 to 2 minutes because pip will make a backend call, pip install netmiko to the GitHub repository. And from that online, you need to have internet as of now. Without internet, this will not work. Okay. So until the process of downloading, you need to have internet. Once this has been downloaded, this will go and sit in your local hard disk. You can even disconnect from internet and start writing the script if the target device is also in a local home lab setup, then you can still write the script and test it. So for installation, for the first time, it needs internet because it has to make that pip install netmiko package would be somewhere in the cloud. Let me show you where does netmiko be residing. So it will be in the GitHub. So this is a public facing package. So this package has to now get installed in our lab, right? So this is where that node was. See, this was the node in my lab. Now this says that it has successfully installed. So you can just close all these pop-ups. Okay, let me show you what all things got downloaded. So if I go here, see here you see that netmiko is not downloaded because the reason is we have downloaded from the different instance. So if I click the second one, settings, see. So I wanted to also tell you that when you create multiple instance of PyCharm, they try to, keep things separated. So the second instance, whatever you download, that will not reflect on the first, neither the vice versa process. So here you see there is a netmiko which was downloaded. Along with netmiko, you can see the rest of the packages which we have not manually asked for. Even they got downloaded automatically. Okay, because at the beginning there was something pip, wheel, and I think something six. These three were there. Then I selected from the marketplace package called netmiko, and netmiko downloaded all its dependency. So what happens is when these developers are developing the package, they also create some requirement.txt file. Now requirement.txt is nothing but the dependency packages. So if he has said that these are also certain things which has to be downloaded along with the netmiko package, my pip will be instructed to do that, and it will also download the rest of the things. So this could be to, have a full-fledged operation from netmiko. We would be using netmiko, but we might go with the extensive use or in-depth of NetMiko. Let's say we are going to make some usage of SSH, some serial connection, some file transfer. So at that point of time, I don't have to, worry about something is not added or some add-ons are not added, because it has already downloaded all the package that it needs. But again, these are just from its normal operation point of view. Later on, when we start dealing with Excel, it has not downloaded any Excel as of now. If we try to kind of use some regex or something else, it has not downloaded them. So for that, you have to come back, click on the plus symbol. Let's say when you open up, you want some Excel reading, so you will go with Excel RD, install the package. So the process will still be repeated of installing. But what this library does it, whatever very nearby dependency, only those are being downloaded, not that entire thing is getting downloaded. Because how do NetMiko know what is your requirement? Your requirement may not be for Excel, so why will it download and keep it unnecessarily? So you have to come here, download whatever you need, like let's say request library, and install the package. So from request, whatever the dependency might be, that will get downloaded. From NetMiko, whatever the dependency is, it will download its own set of things. It's all defined in the GitHub. Okay, usually they keep a file called a requirement .text file, and it will be present over there. So all the package which we are trying to download, they are already in the GitHub. So if you look for GitHub request. See, this is a request library. Let's see the requirement here. It says these all things to be downloaded. Wheel, trust me, HTTP, PyTest. Okay, similar way, I also went with another package called XLRT. See, so the packages are already in the free open source GitHub. So we need to download it one by one on our lab, because we have to then call them, etc. Once you have this, you can click on OK, and then you kind of call them. Let's say you have installed NetMiko. You can just run from here. So when you right click, there is option called run. So this is your output terminal. Okay. So it says that code 0. In the automation or in the Python world, code 0 means successful. Every uh, field has a successful count, right? Let's say when we do show IP in brief, we fetch something, we conclude it successful. When I do the HTTP request, if I get 200 status code, I say that it's good or successful. So similar way in the Python world, in the coding world, if you receive code 0 in your output terminal, that means it's a successful result. If I make a mistake by adding few things over here, which in fact is a non-existing package, so the error would have been something like this, something like this. No module named. Now the same command, I can show you one more thing. Let's say the NetMiko package over in this project file is working and you are getting a code 0. What happens if the same thing you use it in a different instance and then run this? See, it's not getting loaded up. Whereas here, you got a successful outcomes. So successful outcomes need not to be a interactive output saying that you have package, you it successfully. It will just give you this message. And if you get this message, that means whatever you have put up is all good and there is no problem. And if there is any error found, then this is the error. It will point it at line as well, line number. So it says line number 1. So you will see that once you start writing things over here, there comes these lines. These lines are very important because later on, how do you come to know which line has a problem? Right now, it says that line 1 has got problem and it's module not installed, no module. So you go to file, settings, download, and you install, kind of that. So guys, it's 1 hour past our training. What we can do, we will take a quick 15 minutes break, and when we come back, we will resume the session. So remember, this is 2 to 2.5 hours. I will be giving you a break of 15 minutes every session, so that you don't get drained or don't start losing me. So good so far. Before I start the counter, just I want to have some kind of interaction with you guys. All good so far. Are you guys following me?
Yes, Sagar. I'll just give my yes, means my reward. Like I've been in the network field, but I'm not into the software side or the programming side or the scripting side. So this will be a bit heavy for me. Not this session. I'm saying the whole, comparing the whole session.
Sorry, see here, all the participants who are enrolled are having the same background. They are from the networking, but zero from the Python or the automation. So this course is from basic to advanced batch. So we will start with the basic Python theory, and that is how we are starting up writing the script, etc. We are not writing a script on day 1 itself. Okay, and there is nothing apart from this that will help you to switch into automation. So you have to start from some point, and that is this point, okay, where you will start it from very basic thing. That is why all this basic thing of setting up lab and etc. is showcased. So you know the flow of what is happening, how the automation is done, etc. So when you attend 1 or 2, 3, 4 sessions, then things will look very simple. Might be on day 1, it looks little heavy. So any other question?
I have a question like, is it required to use only Python or any other Visual Studio also should work for the lab setup?
See, for automation, you need PyCharm and those end devices. Okay, so these 2 things are sufficient along with the package that you'd be downloading on PyCharm. So that is what you wanted to ask in a overview, right? Did I answer your question?
No, actually, you were you have told to install like Python, right? It's already installed on your lab. But on a personal front, I'm asking, will Visual Studio also work fine for the?
Yes, Visual Studio will also work. Any IDE will work. Okay, so we'll discuss about tools required. In general, we need Python as a programming language, and we need a IDE. So this can be anything, Microsoft Visual Studio or PyCharm, Atom, Eclipse. There are like hundreds of them. We have PyCharm installed in the lab, and also I would be using PyCharm. So it's great if you can use the same. but rest is your choice. If you want to go with anything, then you can go with. And we need the end devices, because we would be testing our scripts, right? So we need some end devices. So for end devices, how do we get the access to end device? Either you should have a real devices, or you should have something kept in the cloud, or you can use emulators. So we are making use of emulator because of the convenience. We have this hypervisors like VMware, Workstation, EXI, players, and we've been using the emulator like something very similar to EVNG. Let me name it as EVNG itself, so no confusion. And those guys who do not know EVNG, then let me put it as GNS3. So here is where we are keeping all our devices, images of the devices on a virtualized based, which will serve as our end device that we need for testing. We can keep any kind of vendors, Palo Alto, F5, Cisco, a lot of things you can keep it. Packet tracer will not work. So if you remember your packet tracer from CCNA, then it will not work. So apart from packet tracer, then all the other emulators are all good to go with. Again, this is again your choice. We are using something similar to EVNG, so I would recommend to go with that. But if you want to make use of GNS or CML or whatever, that's your choice. You have your access to the real device in your company. You can test it over there as well. Okay. So these are something from tools perspective. Now, what are other prerequisite that we need to get started? Now, this is not the prerequisite is not something related to, like, do you need to have CCNP knowledge or CCI knowledge to get started? But still, since I got a question that the participant was from a regular core networking, so this might look little on a high level. So let me tell you, if you have a basic CCNA knowledge, then the code should be sufficient, because I cannot explain you what is IPv4 addressing, what is OSPF protocol, what is BGP protocol, how a router process the packet, how fire. We will not be touching any networking topic. We will be leveraging on this knowledge from our CCNA that we learned, and we would be preparing the script. So most of our things would be over on writing a script. So basic CCNA is sufficient. Now, the prerequisite from getting started on day one, you once you have all the tools with you, you need to have your packages, the libraries also. I can call it as library. Now, the libraries can be something of different, different categorized. Let's say you are looking for SSH based. You're looking for SSH. You're looking for HTTPS. You're looking for Excel. You're looking for file transfer. You're looking for some regular expression. Okay, I'm talking from the categorized point of view. Let's say you're looking for let's say some get pass, or for your password encryption thing. So these are the different libraries that I have put up. Now each one can have the different recommendation. So you can have Netmiko, you can have Nipalm, and so on. Let's say hundreds of them. Okay, from SSH based. Similar way, from HTTPS based, you can have a request library. HTTPS library, you can have request library, and so on. Let's say 10 of other possibility. Same with Excel, you have plenty of option. You can have XLRD, XLWT, Open XYL, Excel Writer. Okay, and let's say tens of different option for you. Same go with file transfer. You can go with SCP modules, you can go with FTP, you can go with SFTP module, right? TFTP modules, different packages for different protocol. Regular expression, what I can remember, there is a inbuilt library called RE, but there can be other possibilities as well. And getpass, it's of its own type. I can just say that, let's say getpass has a module called getpass. Similar way, you can find some module for authorization, authentication, and some one-time password kind of format, and tens of other options. So why I have kept the options? Because we don't need every package with us. We just can take the best out of it. So this is a overview what we need from library or what we expect from the library. Say from a very basic example, let's say when I have Play Store with me and I'm looking for some a customized music player. So I go to Play Store, I type music player, I will get hundreds of recommendation. I will not install all of them, which will finally serve me a music player, right? I will only look for one which is best. I'm okay to pay. I'm okay to also get a free version. But I will still see whether that free version has all the feature. Is it a user friendly? Is it having a good reviews? Is it gonna read all the format of my extension? So there could be some checklist that I will first check, and if that is available on that particular music player, I might download it and I might use it, right? Because I don't want often to delete something, go to next, etc., etc., right? Similar way, when you have, let's say you're looking for SSH, you might get hundreds of recommendation, but you will see some in and out about it. So you will see whether this supports multi-vendor, whether it has exceptional handlings, whether it can handle file transfer, whether it can secure the passwords, right? So these are things that I would check among all hundreds of them. And might be I will start taking up NEPAM for some reason. Might be one of its feature impress me compared to the rest of it. And I prefer going with NEPAM for my SSH connectivity, right? So script to the device, that SSH connectivity is the first step that should be present. Now, let's say the device is not a regular Catalyst box, but it's more like your SDN concept, like as vManage or Epic controller or DNAC controller or your Palo Alto graphical or FortiGate graphical or F5 graphical, which are based on HTTPS. Now, again, I have tens of recommendation. I will see what is plus and minus among this, and I'll select one of it. Same goes with Excel, same goes with file transfer, regular expression. So you have altogether might be 1,000 or more, but we don't need all 1,000 and more doing the same thing, because unwanted overhead on my application, my loading. Let's say I log out today, tomorrow morning I log in, I have to open PyCharm. You saw that indexing thing. If you have 1,000, might be each one has to index, and it just to bring up the process or that application will take 1 hour. Then you for some reason are doing a bad practice. So what I will do, I'll just try to keep only those which is required for me, and that is why the concept of that instance of PyCharm. You have one customer, you can keep one project and install only those related plugins or related modules in that. And the next one, you have a total different requirement, you can keep a different set of things there. So that, the indexing, etc., don't take more than 1 or 2 minutes. 1 or 2 minutes, it will take it, but it should not take an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours and all. So that's not good, right? So you have thousands of the free libraries, but you will select what you need from it, and you can read the documentation, you can read the reviews, and then decide what you needed, and then you will decide to go with. So this is again a requisite that we need to get started. What is the second requisite that we want it when we kind of start with? Let's say we have the library, we write a script. What we do we need it, we need that communication channel between the script and the devices. So it's a simple client server model. I hope, since you guys are all from the CCNA background, so you know what is client and server. So let's say this is my PC, and this is my enterprise, which consists of let's say switch, firewalls, let's say this is router. Just a simple example, let's say this is firewall, this is firewall, let's say this is switch. Let's say in the backend you have some servers or something. Okay, so let's say they have all the reachability that they must have. Let's say they have SSH to all those boxes. So you as a client, your first thing that you need is, let's say you are based off India, and this is somewhere in New York. Okay, two different geographical location. So first thing that you need to have is the connectivity. Okay, the connectivity you should have, you might have a VPN setup to connect to this corporate network, and then over on the internet making use of SSH or HTTPS, you are connecting to the devices. This is how the remote thing happen. We don't sit on the same building of our devices or the data center. We are always somewhere out of our data center. Okay. If you are in this scenario also, not a problem. You have your client here, you don't connect might be to the VPN, but you have your Wi-Fi, etc., in the same LAN network. You still have to do a SSH itself, right? We don't take our laptop, put a console cable, then a move to another, put a that way we don't do it. That's not possible either. 1,000 devices, you cannot take your laptop and make a console reachability. So SSH is something which we use it. So though you are in the same building premise and connecting to SSH, or you're away and making use of SSH connectivity. So these are the protocol, communication protocol that we needed. And where is this, all this package, Python ID, etc. setting? It is not gonna be installed on any of the devices. The devices will not be permitted to add any things. Your client will not allow you to do that. There could be security vulnerabilities, there can be a backdoor problems, there can be a malicious code that gets infected. So client will not allow you to install anything. So whatever you install, you will install on your machine directly, your laptop itself. The same laptop where you had that putty session or secure CRT, you were connecting to the devices over SSH. So the same machine, you can put all these tools that we had some time back written. the Python programming language, the ID, the library, okay, all of them to be kept in your machine. And you prepare the script using this tool. You will call out the communication method, whether you want to go with SSH or HTTPS. And then this information will be shared over on the wire. Okay, a basic reachability is must. And the script, you know, those are all 0, 1 bits which are over on the wire. And once they receive your data, then they do the needful. So let's say on the script, you are gonna mention SSH to 1.1.1 or SSH to 2.2.2. So wherever these are located, let's say 1.1.1 was this and 2.2. was this. So your script is to trigger on them, these two, and might be you want to fetch show IP into brief or show clock. So the data will travel over on the wire, will do the needful on this, will do the needful on this. The data will come back in a format of output, and you as your user, as a human being, you will see the output on your screen itself. So this is again an overview that I'm trying to tell. So the script is written on your screen. You will hit that run button. It will go over on the wire, fetch the detail, and give you back in the output. So this is an overview. Okay, what all things are needed? We need that client machine. The client machine is where we put all the packages and things, develop our script. In a backend, we need to have the devices. I told you, if it's a lab environment, then we can make use of emulators. If you're automating it on your the company provided lab environment, then the real devices are also okay. If it is a production environment, then you should have the needful approval from the client and party to do the needful things. They don't have to do anything on their side. They don't need any Python extension, PyCharm extension, any NetMiko extension. They just need to allow you on this, which they would have already given you the access. So with this access, by sitting over on a remote, over on your own personal laptop, you can do the automation. Okay. So clear till here? Clear this point? Okay. So automation doesn't mean you should have all new set of hardware things to get started. Whatsoever you have, you will use it to get started. Okay. Now, let me say on your client machine, this is your laptop. What you get started. So you have your PyCharm. You just saw me how did I install the NetMiko package. Okay. You will do the basic SSH check to make sure you have access to that end device where you would be testing it out. And then you can start writing the script. So when you write the script, the first thing that we do is we call that library. And the way to call a library is with the help of import keyword in Python. So whatever library you want, let's say in my case, I go with NetMiko. Why I go with NetMiko? Because NetMiko is a SSH based library, because I first need that communication channel to be formed, right? Either over on HTTPS or SSH. I need a communication channel. I can go with Netmiko or its competitors like Nipam, Nornier, PyNTC. There are a lot of other libraries. So when you call the library, then you will define all your device data in a appropriate Python data types. So you will say that these are my device IPs. Let's say you are making use of a list pattern. So let's say your first device is this. Then you will say that your second device is this. Then you say that your third device is this, and so on. Thousands of devices can be included in your Python script. Then somehow you will give this device information along with all the other details like username, password. Okay. If you are making use of an enable secret, all the required data, you will give it in your script, and then you will call out something called connect handler. So it's basically to initialize that SSH connectivity. You're not giving a regular traditional command like SSH or something. Now you would be using more or less from the package point of view. So you say that connect to the device. Once you connect to the device, let's say connection is successful, then you will send some commands, and then you expect the output coming back to you with the help of print function. Now what happens is you as a user, you will not be much worried about the remote side. Okay, so from your side, what is important? Your script format should be good, no issue with syntax writing, and the basic check always recommend you to have tested your SSH connectivity. SSH connectivity you can do via your computer, making use of a PuTTY console or secure CRT application, or even PyCharm has a inbuilt capability where you can do the regular traditional SSH command. So what is that SSH command? This command. And why it is important? Because your device should have that connectivity to the end devices before you start writing the script. All right, so these are few basic things which you should know. Now, let me take you to the lab. If you come to the lab, we just had configured one device with certain management IP. So this is the server. So let me see the IP addressing of this. It says that it's 24.24. Now, do I have reachability from my client? Let's say that IP is over here, 172.16.24.24. This is a Cisco type of device. Do I have reachability from my client, from my PyCharm tool? So let me go to the PyCharm. So this is a window node which is kept over here. So I told you either you can go up and open a regular CMD to do the basic test, 172.16.24.24. Say you have this ping reachability, or else PyCharm also has that option, inbuilt option. There is something called terminal at the bottom. See, at the very bottom, there is called terminal. So you can initiate the same ping test, 172.16.24.24. See, so it has a reachability. So once you have the reachability, then what do? We can start writing up with the script. That is what I have put up here. So once you have the needful things, you have a ping check. That means the reachability is present. Right now we tested via ICMP, but that's also something which will let you conclude that you can still have a SSH connectivity if there is a ping reachability. Okay, basic networking concepts we are discussing, and then we can write a script. Now, writing a script is not something that easy for you on the day one. You should know a lot of things from the scripting point of view. You should know what is variable, what do you mean by list, Okay, what is the meaning of this equals to symbol? What is this square bracket? What is print? So for this, we should understand Python theory. If you know Python theory, then writing script over Python is very, very simple. Python is considered to be the most simplest programming language among rest. So rest in the sense C, C++, Java, Golang, right? There are a lot of other competitors. So Python is the lightweight, easy to learn programming tool or programming language. You just need to know few theory concept. So that is what from our blueprint we will start with the theory first. Once you are aware with the theory, then only we get into the library section. So whatever we discussed about Netmiko writing, that is that is planned at module 9. So module 1 is a basic environment set which we did today. So today I showed you the lab concept, how do we start writing or writing an automation from a very high level. You can, on the client side, you can have any vendor, any operating tool. It could be a Windows, it could be a MacBook, it could be a Linux based Ubuntu machine, it could be anything, because we have PyCharm, which comes in all the three operating system. These scripts are irrespective of any operating system. If we have the required environment, we can do it. If it is a Windows machine, I will go with the PyCharm and start automating. If it is a MacBook and Linux, I have two options. I can either go with terminal or the graphical mode of PyCharm itself. Because if I take you guys to PyCharm download section, you will get all the three suitable operating system. See, Windows, Mac, you have a different image, DMG image, or you can also install it with the pip command. If you go to terminal, you can install it. And there is a Linux format as well, the tar format. And for Windows, it's a exe format, which you can download. So irrespective of your operating system. Okay, so let me come back to this one. So we talked about more or less on the setting up the environment. You are aware of PyCharm, you are aware of Python programming tool, you are aware of creating instance in PyCharm, you are aware now how to download the packages, where are those packages being located and how you download it. We don't put any command line, but that PyCharm already has a inbuilt library pip, which is helping us to download the rest of the things. And we did see a lot of overviews from a high level, like how the automation looks like from a very high level point of view, right? So now we can start with some basic theory. We have 30 to 40 minutes left. So we will start with something very, very basics, okay, which you should know before you start writing script on your own. So Python theory generally is not too complex. You can learn it by doing, some very easy exercises as well. So before doing that exercises, whatsoever is needed, I will try to cover. So let's say print comment open input get pass datetime data types. So this could be string, list, number, list, tuples, dictionary, set. Then we will go through, let's say, regex, functions. These are all the ops concept. Then once again, bit on libraries, if else condition, loop iterations. Okay, so these are few theory concept which we would cover, and post to this we can talk about writing the scripts then. Okay. Okay, so I have this instance. Hope you guys can see the font. Let me increase it. There's one option under file settings. Okay, so when you go to editor general, there is this option, change font size with control plus mouse wheel in. So if you select this, what happens is, in case if you want to increase the font size, you can just hold that control button and it will, increase the font size, or if you want to decrease the font size. Same applies here. Sometimes some font should be needed to zoom in, zoom out. So with holding the wheel option, you can do that. Control and your mouse wheel. So that option is within file settings under general, under editor general, the first option. Okay, so first let's start with variables. Now, variables in Python means when you're storing some data to, let's say, an empty box or empty container, and using it for transmitting from source to client or client to source. So let's say, for example, you have this port number, TCP22. Now, from your client, you have to send it to that particular Cisco device, right? So you want to store it somewhere, then only you can send it. You cannot just send it uh, between two different devices or two different source and destination, right? So you can keep the data. This is your data in a variable. You can call a variable as this. So in Python, any variables are declared using a equals to symbol. This act as your variable name. Variable names can be anything. You can add port 123, or you can add port number. This is just for your, for your own reference. In the class, I usually add 123. The reason is because there are variables which are predefined by the developer, and there are some variables which are user defined. So if I put 1, 2, 3, then you can consider that being a user defined. So you can make use of any other variable as well. But if I'm making use of something without 1, 2, 3, something like this, so that means that admin, that might be that username is a hard coded one, and that is why I didn't prefer changing it out. So this can be a developer defined. So I have to use as it is. I cannot make a change in them. But if I was using this way, then you can just conclude that this are all customizable names. Okay, because there are two types here. One is a standard developer based, as per his library he might have defined some, and sometimes it could be a user based also. So for user based, I will always prefer going 1, 2, 3, so that we clearly stand them out, or we understand which is user based and which is being developed by the developer. Okay, so these are variables. Now, what happens in variable? I stored some data in this. I stored some data in this. I stored some data in this variable. So left hand side is the variable name, and the data is on your right hand side. So this is your data. Okay, so what basically this does, it variable, I'm using it to store some data in the variables, and this variables later, somewhere at the bottom we can call it out. Let's say the variables are getting used, might be let's say, just an example, let's say I'm sending out something and I want to make use of this variable, something like this. So now I'm basically calling that variable over here. So why do we do that? Why can't I add directly some data here? Because the problem could be, if you're developing a script and handing it over to someone, you don't want them to make changes on the different lines. That can sometimes break your script as well. So if you keep all the variables somewhere at the top, might be he can still change the things only related to that, and at the bottom he is not required to even know where does this are getting called, or he don't have to do anything on the later on lines. He can just change some settings here, and rest of the line he can just rely on whatever the senior developer would have written up. So that is one purpose. Second thing is, you can easily have the overview on all the variables kept at his single location, instead of you scrolling line by line and just checking if there is any problem at this line or this line or this line. You can just see them at this point itself, right? So you can see at this point and you can rectify this. So that is from the benefit of using it in this way, by writing it here. But from the concept way, variables are something which is used to store the data, and this data is later sent over on the wire from your client machine to your server machine. Also, you are expecting something coming back from there. Let's say you are sending a command, show IP int brief. So from your machine, you are sending something. But at the same time, when someone take a print of that send command, what they would expect after, let's say, once you have that SSH capability, etc., the print will give you back the output of so and so. So let's say uh, fetch, you're making use of send command to push, and then take a print of that. Now, send is nothing but you're sending it from your client to that target device. And what print will do? Print is nothing but it will fetch from your device to your PyCharm's output terminal, because you want to see it over here. Otherwise, if you don't see this, then you would not understand if the script did really connect, or if it's fetching you the details, etc. So two things happens. We call this as read over the channel and write over the channel. So let's say this is your client. So when I say server, you can think from Cisco point of view, Cisco devices, client server model. So let's say if you are pushing something from this direction, from your device, and then when you're fetching back something, okay. Now what will happen? Let me tell you. Okay, just a minute. So this is a write operation. This would be called a write operation. And what would be the read operation then? This would be called read operation. And this communication, this into out, out to in, we call, in programming language, we call it as transport channel. Okay, so this is something we call from the programming language. Transport channel is that in and out communication. Over on that in and out communication, you can apply a write operation and a read operation. Write operation is from your client to that device. When you fetch something, you are fetching it over on a read operation. So why I'm telling that is because here the same thing is applying. So when we do this, it's a write operation because it is going from your client to that devices. It would be write operation. When you're fetching back something, then that would be read operation, which you would result it over in the output terminal. Okay, so three things there: transport channel, write operation, read operation. So in a regular authentication, let's say if you make use of a regular SSH operation, so what are the different channels that we would see, or operations we would see? So let's say this is a device. You have simple device, Cisco router, Palo, whatsoever you want. So first thing that you will do is a write method. What is write operation you would be doing? You would be sending out a command. This is your first step. When you do so, or let's say you just did SSH. This is a write channel. Now, what comes from the other side? It will ask you to enter username. Then what happens? You give the username. Let's say you are giving it as admin. Then what happens? Then it will prompt you for a password. So let's say it is now prompting you to enter password, and then you give the value for that password. Let's say Cisco. And now the SSH is established. Okay, this we call as that transport channel. Let's say you labeled it with SSH or something. And from here onwards, you can put all your CLI commands in one list and then send it all CLI one by one. And making use of print statement, you can read that fetch. So let's say this was called as fetch. So you see this is a write operation started with, then we read something coming from the device, then we gave that value, then something comes back, then we give some value, the SSH get established, then we go to the fetch command. Now this would be again the write operation, and fetch and the fetch or the print is considered to be the read operation. So throughout your script, from start to the end of the line, you will see read and write operation. So this is very common in all the script behavior. All the scripts, client to server, will have to follow this read and write operation. Okay, you don't have to do anything until or unless if you are making use of some write channel or read channel in your script, you don't have to do it. Fetch is variable. It's a variable name. You can give it this way also. Okay, so this is a general operation. You should know, you should understand the general operation. Otherwise, it will not help you to know how this automation scripts are being carried out. So any automation, whether Ansible or Python or REST API, they follow the general process, client server model. There is a read write operation happening in the backend, and I will show you this once we start with script writing. So there are certain debug modules available, logging modules. With this module, we can see the complete packet analyzers, packet capture of what is happening in the backend. So that time you will understand the read and write concept much better. For now, you just understand that the variables are carrying your data now. So if you see here, this was a variable which helped you to write, and the same variable is later on helping you to read that over on your output terminal. So variables are used to store the data and transmit the data from source to destination, and if needed, from destination to source, because print is an optional command. If you want to read it, you will apply it. If you don't want to read that output, then you don't have to apply. You can still trigger whatsoever you want on the device without taking back the output. Okay, so read and write operation, and variables are nothing but where you store the data and then transmit it. You can store any type of data. You can store number, you can store list in the sense multiple data, single data. These are all single data now. See, these are single data. What is this inverted commas? Inverted commas are nothing but the way you are representing a single data. It's of data type string, which will come in the next few classes. So this is one type of way we are assigning a data to this. Okay. So from network side, what we do, we assign our username, we assign password, we assign all our show commands. Let's say I wanted to reboot the device, I can put it over here. I cannot just throw those data somewhere without packed in a proper format. Remember, these are programming languages, so they have to be properly assigned or declared in a proper way. If you do this way, then at this point you will get an error stating that line number 11 has some issue, it's not defined properly. So you should know how to define them without causing any problem. Okay, so variables is something to store the data of any type and transmit it across source and destination, or you can also call it as client server, whatever suits you is fine to define it. Okay, now coming to print, since we were already discussing about the print function. So in Python, print is nothing but to read something for the user. If you don't have print in your script, it will not be a problem. But if you have print in your script, you will understand, or you will see the output being fetched for every single CLI command, or you can make your script more interactive. Okay, so print is to read the output on your ID. So let's say this is your output section, right? So if you want to see any output receiving here, let's say the output of show clock, show run, show IP route, you want it to be interactive. When a script is being written and run, it should ask you for username to be entered, pass. So anything which is related to reading out is the print function. Then comes something for comment. Now, as the name says, comment. Let's say you want to have something meaningful, like something descriptive written on the script, but at the same time you don't want your script, your tool or your programming language to also consider this or execute this, because this is just for humans. It has nothing to do with execution, right? You don't want to execute these lines. So in Python, we commented anything with this what do you call hash symbol. Okay, with hash symbol, you can comment any lines, and these are line significant. That means if you have multiple lines, to comment it out, you just put this hash symbol in front of them, because there are certain languages where you can declare the start and end point, like in CSS and all, color cascading. You can something do this way also, and to close it you can just something like this you can do in some languages, where you put some start and end, and you can keep all the lines in a commented format, so that they don't get triggered. It's just for reading purpose. But in Python, you have to do it line by line order, because these are line significant. Let's say you have you want to keep a valid line, but at the same time also you want to comment it, then you can do it at the end as well of that particular line. Let's say modify as per your need. Okay, now this thing get escaped, or this get skipped, but this is still valid. Your script will still run that. Let's say you wanted to keep username, and let's say you said this, but you also want it to be modified, or you want to put that instruction that remove this, or you just keep it blank and enter as per your need or whatever, so that someone will come and let's say he will put down his username. Okay, so this is going to help or your users to to understand what this might have been written, or do he needs to add something, and so on. So this is like an instructions that you can keep it, the comment. Okay, then comes let's say input functions. Now let me tell you what is this input. There are chances that you don't want the username and password being assigned in your script, because this reveals your password and you are not happy with that. So you can let user type it in a real time. So you can just go with input function and say that enter the username. So what happens now? Let me grade the other things. See, now what will happen at this point? If I run the script, see, it is asking me to enter that, right? It's more intelligent now. So I'm making my script more intelligent. So when the script is executed, it should ask that user to input his details, not that I will hard code some data and someone by mistakenly trigger that without be aware of it. So I would not go by keeping this for username and password at least. So same way, I can also keep it for password. So let's say this is password. Enter the password, and let's say I just want to see what do I enter. So let's say I execute this. So it is asking me for username. I press enter. Then it is asking me for password. I will make it Cisco, and that is how it runs. So you can make it more advanced by, let's say, enter the CLI command. So this could be when you want user to type the command instead of you storing something. See, enter the username, admin, enter the password, Cisco, enter the CLI command, let's say show IP int brief. And then it will happen that process read, write, and fetch you back the details over on your output terminal. If you don't need too many print, then you can also gray them out. As I told you, print is just to show you if you are typing it right or if something is not good. You can just disable the print and then go something like this. See, now that is not revealed, and you can just type show IP into brief, and once the SSH will trigger, you can fetch the output for certain things. So this was when you go with the basic input functionality of Python to define something on a user interactive method. Now, some people might say that I don't even want to keep or reveal this username password if someone is standing at my back, or if someone is behind me, they can still see the credential, right? So there is another third party, not third party, there is another Python inbuilt library, which is called as getPass. So I can just call that getPass module, and instead of input, I can prefer going with getPass over here as well. Now there is one small trick that you have to enable when you go to run edit config. There's one small checklist which you should enable it, because by default this would not be letting you to use getPass. This happens with all the getPass whenever you make use of this. So let's say now you have enabled this, you click on OK. Now, when you run the script, see, when you type your username, do you see anything typing? You don't see anything, but I have actually put it down. When I press enter, see, it went to password. When I type Cisco, see, you don't see anything. But for the regular input, you would be seeing me typing something. So basically what the getPass does, it does the work of encrypting. Okay, encrypting in the way by not revealing that over on your screen. And at the same time, these are all SSH packages. So your password, username, data is all encrypted, the normal networking concept. Okay, the things should be kind of encrypted. So this is what we would be using in the real script as well. We would be using this logic in the scripts where we collect the username or password, and then we can, put the command. Now, since we are already timed up, I'll just tell you the different possibilities that you can do it. Username and password, you can either keep it over here, either by directly defining it. But if you don't want to do that, then we saw it by making use of input. If you don't want that, we also made use of get pass. If you don't want get pass, then there is one more method. That is, you can keep it somewhere else. Let's say your credentials are somewhere stored in the different folders. Let's say somewhere here in a text format, or let's say in a Excel format or whatsoever. So let's say you have your credentials and something stored up here. So you can also read them. That will come in the next classes. Okay, we will go with the open method to read this particular text file and then get that value and store it here. So you can read a simple notepad. You can read an Excel file. You have something in the Google Drive, you can read it from there. So various ways you can read it. So getting some data in the script is not a hectic process. You have a various way now to also, assign something to the variables. You have get pass, you have input, you can directly assign something. You can go with either of this. So these are all different methods that we can use it to assign something to username and password. Same goes with CLI. Either you can go with the list method and keep all 10 different commands over here and then execute one by one, or you can go with the notepad. You have a notepad with you somewhere with all different uh, CLIs. So let's say you keep another text file CLI, and all your commands you store it like this. Okay, just a general things. So let's say you had all 10, 20 commands, and then you've been asked to read from there. So you can go with the open methods. You can go with open method. If you want it to come from the user, then you can go with input method. Or if you want to read from Excel, then again you can go with the open method. So these are the different ways that we have it in the Python script. So remember, in Python script, you will always have multiple ways to achieve something. You don't only depend on one way to do it. Always you have multiple ways to get the things done. So any doubt from today's class? Because it's timed up. We will resume it tomorrow in the same time, and I'll take up the next topics from the Python theory. So you got any question for today? You can let me know. So any question? How was your session? How was your first session?
Hey, thanks. It's really engaging. And interesting. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Sorry, I could not hear you. Come again.
Am I audible now?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you because it was truly an engaging session. I mean, makes a lot of sense and value. So thank you so much.
Okay, all right, okay. So you can always in the live class you can always kind of unmute and ask a question at any time. You don't have to wait till last point. You'll gradually get that. Don't worry. Might be after two sessions when we have more things. you will definitely unmute, and because it's a interactive session, you don't have to wait, park your question to the end of the session. Okay. Maybe first 2 days you might feel little not much comfortable. Maybe you think it will disturb the rest or the flow. But once after, third, fourth classes, you feel free to unmute anytime. So I'll tell you how it works. So basically, first 10-15 minutes I'll keep for a regular discussion from the past class. Then I will have the session started. Then we have that 15 minutes of break, and then the next session. And then at the end also we will have that 15-20 minutes for general discussion. Okay. So this is how it is planned. And within the session also, if you have a quick question at any point that I'm been writing, you can feel free to unmute and ask it. But always wait for one script for me to return it or write it. And then if you want, you can, ask the question, because there is chances when I write something, the answer might have been told in the next couple of lines. So that will also, break the flow, and other participant also might feel disturbed. So when I start writing the script, wait for that script to be written, explain line by line. Then I will myself ask you if you have a question in the script. You can tell me that line 4 you didn't understand. So can I repeat it? So I'll explain that at that point of time. So that is how the class would be. Okay.
Hello, Sagar.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Yeah. Sure. Go ahead.
What about we practicing what you are also doing? Because I try to uh also log to my into my lab and try to log into the Windows server, but I could not really do anything because I do not have
Windows.
um the password
What?
to this. So,
Okay.
but the fact is,
You need the password for this.
yeah. So the fact is, all the necessary software application, all these PyCharm and everything is already installed in this Windows server. Or do we need to
Yeah, I've
install some?
given the password in the common group. It is test123 T in capital.
Okay. Okay, so far it's working. Yeah, because I would also love to get my hands dirty as we are also doing some things and I can ask questions if things are not working properly as it's working at your side. So, like, but every other thing is fine. Fine.
Okay, all right, okay. So guys, I have given you a link as well, which is the course outline. So someone who has not still taken the admission, you can go through that link, and there is this contact form. You can fill this up, and one of my backend will reach out for the admission process. Okay. So that is what from my end. If there is no further question, we can wrap up the session and we connect tomorrow.
One question, Sagar,
Yeah, go ahead.
you showed about different ways to input username and password, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, if we have like 10 machines to run the script and they do have a different username and password, so is it something which the use case you will show us later, like how we can
See,
control
when
all those machines?
yeah, when we have that scenario, you can store it in Excel format. You can say that device 1 is this credential, device 2 is this credential, device 3 is this credential. So that way you can sort it out. Or you can make use of input method as well, but that will be not practically feasible, because 10 to 20
Yeah,
device you cannot keep entering one after one. So
correct.
better would be go with the Excel format.
Okay.
Okay, we
Uh,
have that example where we have 10 devices with 10 different credentials kept.
Okay, sir. So instead of that Excel sheet, are we able to use any kind of secret manager or password manager? So from there, we can fetch the credentials and then try to connect to the device.
Yes, you can do that as well. You have this IPAM or this NEC box where the credentials are stored. We get
Yeah.
the API calls to them. So we can run
Okay.
the API from Python script and fetch that.
Okay. So is there any way you can show us an example later in the classes?
Yeah,
Like
surely,
how
surely.
we can fetch that? Yeah.
Yeah, surely.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Sagar, I have one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nowadays, MFA are now being implemented, that multi-factor authentication, which that sends OTP on the mobile and through which we have to authenticate. So, any idea how we can achieve that?
Yeah, see, what we can do for that is, let's say you have username and password put up in the script. You can keep another variable with input method, enter the OTP. So what will happen when that enter the OTP has been prompted with the input method, you can generate it from your mobile and put that code on the script.
Okay.
Okay, so that way you can run that script with the help of OTP, because that OTP will be on your mobile and the script will be on your computer. So you will
Yeah.
generate that OTP, you get that 4 digit, and you will enter here with that input method, or input or get pass, whatever you want, you can use this because they are real-time interactive thing.
Yes. Okay. We'll see when we
Yeah,
start
sure. Okay.
practical. Okay. Thanks.
All right. So thank you everyone for joining class 1. Let's connect tomorrow. The recording will be put up shortly on your web portal, and I think it will also go to YouTube, first 2 classes. Then it will be only to the Learn portal itself. So it will take like 1.5 hour, and then you can expect it. All right. So have a nice day, and we'll meet up tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.